Hello, and welcome back to Adventures in AI. I am Renee the Curious, and today I am curious about a new model by Anthropic, Claude Haiku 4.5. It's not new, but this version is, and it just dropped yesterday. And I've used it a little bit, and I have to say I'm impressed. It reminds me a little bit about Google's Gemini Flash 2.5, which is to say small, fast, and fairly inexpensive. If we look at the pricing, wherever that is, pricing, we can see that compared to Sonnet, which is for many of us our daily driver, the input token cost is, well, a third the price. So, and this is if you're under 200,000 tokens. With Sonnet 4.5, which is incredibly good, $3 per million tokens. And with Haiku 4.5, we're looking at $1 million. Output tokens, $5 for Haiku 4.5 and $15 for Sonnet 4.5. And then Opus 4.1, which has been around for a while. The biggest model, I'm not sure if it's the best anymore, but it's pretty close, but it is very expensive. So this is exciting. We get a big discount if Haiku 4.5 can do many of the things that we're using Sonnet 4.5 or other models at similar pricing schedules. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to try to hit the back button. And notice this. This is kind of amazing. For such an inexpensive model, Haiku 4.5 is scoring over and well into the 70 percentile in the SweeBench score. And if we look at some of the backup to this and we compare it to the other models, is it the best? Well, no. According to Anthropic, and this is verified by SweeBench, Sonnet 4.5 is still more powerful, but it's punching way above its weight, above Sonnet 4, almost at GPT-5 codex level, above GPT-5, and even Gemini 2.5 Pro, which just a couple months ago was considered way up there and definitely close to Sonnet 4. It's even better, and it's inexpensive, and it's fast. What are we going to do today? Well, I have an application that is, it's about wells, but it's different. It's for the entire country. So this is indexing all of the wells in all of the well-producing provinces. Well-producing? All of the provinces that produce something with wells. Even in Ontario has quite a few. So almost 1 million, actually. And this has been developed in SvelteKit. I was going to say 4.5, Svelte 4, and as well Supabase on the back end, PostgreSQL, PostGIS. So what do we want to do? Something simple. One of the things that I found time and again is that these models are good at non-visual things, but when you throw some CSS and designy stuff at them, sometimes the results aren't what you'd hope. And some are better than others, and I'm not an expert in saying which is the best way to use these large language models for designing our UIs. But I thought, let's try Haiku 4.5 and see what it can do, if it can punch above its weight, however many pounds or kilograms it weighs. What do I want to do? I want to revise this UI down here. So this is a toolbar component, and it has just a single button, a search button. And I realize on mobile, on a phone, it's nice to have the map occupy as much of the real estate as possible. So we're going to get rid of the background, and I want to do something interesting with the search. I want it so that when the user clicks this, currently they get a way to search by different means. That's weird. That should be a tabbed button group. And but what I want to do is click it so that when they click and then they start punching their coordinates, this expands to include the search term below, but in a floating search input, kind of like this example. So it's just a magnifying glass, they click, and then there's text that can go in the box. And it's a little cleaner, it's simple. There is even a video. So these guys did a nice job. So here's what we're going to try. Go to Visual Studio Code, VS Code, And we will switch to using Cline Haiku 4.5 in planning and in acting. And as I've said many times before, and many of you, I think, agree, planning is maybe one of the more underutilized aspects to LLMs in code editing, because it allows the user, me, you, to know what the tokens are how they're going to be used, and really get things right before it goes off and does its thing and maybe goes down some dead alleys. As well, it's worth remembering that the input tokens are, pricing, sorry, are quite a bit less expensive than the output tokens, right? So they're, well, actually 5 times more expensive. So the more we put into our initial prompt and as it reads our code, that's sort of less expensive than the code it writes. And so let's see if this is true here. Now, going back to Visual Studio Code, I'm going to try to use my voice and describe what we want to do. And actually, one more thing. Let's copy this URL. I wish to revise the search input component such that it behaves like the UI described on this page. Please read, inspect, and understand how that UI works, period. In a nutshell, I want just a circular round button with a magnifying glass that is overlaid onto the map, period. I don't want a toolbar that covers the map, period. I want the map to use the full extent of the viewport, period. When the user clicks the magnifying glass button, comma, the search modal should appear. And actually, to be clear what that is, what did I call it? Tab button? No. Search modal, that's right. At the same time, the button should expand to a search input text. And as the user enters text or coordinates, comma, they should appear inside that search input, period. And then I like to end with, do you understand perfectly? Blah, blah, blah. And let's see, confirm we are using 4.5. And yes, okay, good. And so let's see if it can reason on that. So it's going to fetch and inspect the reference web page, look at the current implementation. Good. All right. Okay, so maybe it's not smart enough. I've run into this a few times. I think when these new models drop, I don't know if they're constrained by compute resources, if everyone like you and me are trying them, and yeah, no, it seems to be working. And then it just hits some rate limit, even though I am paying for the tokens. Tokens don't grow on trees. And okay, so it's going to ask me some questions, which is good. It's what I asked it to do. Okay. All right, let's just make this easier to read. Okay, it thinks it nailed my intent. Fixed toolbar, search icon. Yeah, so that's current state. Smooth animation, that's good. Now, I didn't actually say that, but it perhaps got that from the web page that it read. I shared the link with. Search modal, okay. Okay, sure. And we're just going to go with it. And, this is, if it doesn't work, so far we spent almost a dime. And I'll just discard the changes and we'll commit it to this branch. So let's act. And here, let's time it. It's all about performance. And one thing you'll notice, and this is true of the other models that are smaller provided by Gemini, etc., is it's fast. Like it's reading, it's inputting tokens, words really quickly, and it's generating quickly. And if the surface area of the problem is relatively small, then in many cases, the smaller models now, they're smaller, but they're getting smarter, are able to achieve our desire, achieve our goal. Okay, proceed while running. All right, it's finding some little bugs, syntactical bugs, which is not surprising. This component, oh, it's now up here. Oh, interesting. Search wells. Okay. Oops. It's trying to open. Okay, what's it doing? Oh, it's offering to use the MCP server on Playwright. Sure. Well, that's new. New for me. I haven't seen that from Claude Sonnet 4.5. It could be an update to client as well. It seems like the client extension is updated daily. Okay. Oh my, this is impressive. And it's so fast. Task complete. Okay. Okay, so let's see if it really is complete. Okay, so interesting. All right, so if I close this, so it sits in the corner. Okay, location is not ideal, but get a little nice little animation. Oh, and it actually, and it works. One shot. Amazing. Here, let's stop the presses. 3 minutes, 24 cents. And okay, the button placement is trivial, but that is amazing. Very nice. Okay. Let's nudge it now. That was, let's give it props. That it did what we asked. I didn't talk about placement, so fair enough. Here, let's again use my voice. It works, period, but I am not happy with where you placed the button, period. I want the button placed horizontally center, but towards the bottom of the viewport so that it is easier to tap when a user is using his phone with his thumb. Okay, too much information, hippie. But let's, oops, hippie butts. Let's, all right, so let's continue. Okay, there we go, done. Okay, just as soon as I hit start. Yeah, great. Okay, again, if I'm going to be a little picky, I would say we can make this modal window maybe a little shorter so it doesn't compete with what we have down below. But that is very, very nice. And again, after you're coding with an agent, it's often a good idea to just look at, what we did. Okay, so we have a new component and just got rid of the toolbar. That makes sense. We didn't need that container, and we didn't need these other things. So that's nice. It's getting rid of stuff we don't need, which can happen, when we're using AI. These models can build up a lot of cruft in our application. So it's nice to see that Haiku 4.5 is cleaning its room. And so it puts the floating search button in. All right, it's using here. Let's inspect floating search button. Oops. Okay, so it created event dispatcher, but it's not using it. Okay, I'll inspect that later. But it is more or less working. So that's pretty exciting. Haiku 4.5 for the win. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.